we are here in the Fryx Games booth, and I'm with Enoch. We met last year, and you had only one game, I think, on super big display. It was a handmade version of Wilderness. I'm happy to report that we see a fully printed version now on the table in front of us, and we also have some other games here. You have a brand new game, as well as a sort of revival of an older title as well. So tell us what's available here from Fryx Games, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of some of the newer titles.
Yeah, sure, for sure. Great to have you here, Stephen.
Glad to be here.
We have the Wilderness in the printed edition. The number 2 Geek Buzz from last year. We got the second best rating on the Board Game Geek. It's coming in a printed version, so that's on sale today. And of course we have a new larger edition of the Space Station. Basically, it looks nicer and it's a lot cheaper.
Okay.
That's good. It's the beauty of mass production.
Yes.
And finally, we have the novelty for this year, Brawling Barons. A really fun, simple and cheap little card game that you can play, and you can also add many decks together to play more players or just have more fun.
Okay.
So it's a buildable card game.
So it starts out as a 2-player. If you buy one box, it's for 2 people to play?
3 players as well.
Okay.
2 to 3 players. Add one deck to play more players. But actually you can add 4 decks together. You can still play this game. It can be up to 6 players. But you can play 2 players with a huge deck as well.
Okay.
And I will show you why.
Excellent, yes.
So we're just going to jump right into it. What is basically Brawling Barons? Well, Brawling Barons, in essence, is a game where you play out your card either as peasants or squires. And the point of the game is to use your resources to upgrade the peasants into different buildings and upgrade the squires into some military units that can be used. And the background story of Brawling Barons is that you're a baron in the king's kingdom, and if you build buildings, that would give you victory points, because that would increase the splendor of the kingdom. Or you could get victory points by joining the king at his army, by sending military units away to the king's army. So that way you get victory points as well.
You make him happy by sending him troops.
Yeah. So the game is about gaining victory points by making the king happy. At the same time, you're a brawling baron, and the tagline is, with the king's eyes fixed on the front lines, he probably wouldn't notice your sharp elbow in your neighbor's eye or side.
Nice.
So the point is that you're competing with the other players of the game. It could be 2 to 6 player to get the most victory points, and if you don't want to send them to the army right away, you can first use them to do some damage in some other villages. So it's a game of tactics and hard competition between the players. But basically, it's a fun, simple concept of playing out squires and peasants and upgrading them with resources. Now, the game only has one main deck.
Right.
And from that deck, you draw the cards that you put into your hand. But also, this same deck is also used for collecting resources. Like from the same deck also, I could use my peasants on the farms to collect resources for me. But the resources are the money that you spend to upgrade and play different units.
So the face-down cards represent the resources that you've collected?
So the resources that you don't look at them. But at the same time, if I pay to upgrade this to a farm, this will go straight up to the top of the box again, and you have a farm.
Ah, okay.
Which means that in this game, as you move along, this pile will go up and it will go down. And the game ends instantaneously when the last card is drawn from the game. So this game is about building yourself, but it's also about controlling the main deck. If you're in the lead, you have to have the most victory points in buildings and men sent to the king's army. You want to finish the game. So you want to collect resources or draw cards to your hand to finish the deck. The other players who are behind is that they're interested to keep updating, to put more resources on top of the
keep the game
day
going
to
longer.
keep the game going. Now, every player has some simple layers. They have their buildings, they have their peasants working, bringing in resources, and they have the soldiers. And the soldiers can be sent into a wall, meaning that they are protecting the village from incoming attacks.
Okay.
Or they could be sent to the king's army. And that's basically the mechanics of the game. Also, to spice the game up, it also has some few special cards that gives bonuses or some extra defense when these hard military units are coming.
Okay.
This is basically the game, and there's some flavor cards as well thrown in there. Simple, easy, really funny, and you can just buy another deck of Brawling Barons, shuffle them together to have even more fun or more players.
Well, I wanted to say, it seems really quick. How long does a normal game take with two or three players?
Well, when the game maker over here, when he's playing the game, it takes him like 10 or 20 minutes to play one game, just head to head.
Okay.
For a new player, it could take 40 minutes to sit down, to get things going. If you add more, it's the beauty of it, if you add more cards, the game will be longer. And the less cards you have, if you're 3 players on one deck, you can play that, it's really fun. But it's more unpredictable because it could end really fast.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really. Seems like a really interesting game. The price of this game is amazing too for the kind of game that it is, with the resources and the battling. You don't often see games come in at, am I saying this right, is it €5 for a deck for this game? That's an amazing deal, right?
It's a very good deal. But then we hope that people will buy 2 decks.
Right.
3 decks or 4 decks.
Well, it's very unusual to find a quick card game that has strategy and tactics like this that comes in at a really value price like that. It seems like there might be expansions or things if it goes well. It seems like it would be the kind of game that you could add different kinds of buildings or different kinds of units to for the future if things go well.
We already have an expansion. Oh,
excellent.
But we have to sell these first. See,
Exactly.
people like it. But
Exactly. Now,
but the plans are always far ahead of the reality, you know. We're game makers.
If people want to find not only Brawling Barons but Wilderness and some of these other games, are these games going to be available in game shops? Do they go to your website? How can people buy them if they want to?
Our big board game, Wilderness, is available in many countries already.
Excellent.
Like the US, the UK, Germany, Scandinavia. And we're working to have more distributors for this game. These new games, we're working on distributors, and they're available in a few countries, but all the time we are trying to expand. We believe in our games, and we believe that all people should be able to play them.
Excellent. Well, I want to finish up here by saying you have a very interesting story behind your company, because I don't think it's very often you'll find a company. You're based in Sweden, correct?
Based in Sweden.
And this is a family affair here. We have 10 brothers that are in some way, shape, or form involved in the actual making of the different games that you see coming out from Fryx Games, right?
Fryx Games is actually the Fryexlius family. We are 10 brothers growing up together, all fascinated about making games, playing each other's games, developing, and we've done this for decades. So Fryx Game is really, finally we make the effort to see if someone else maybe wants these games.
So are these games that in many cases you may have been playing amongst the brothers for years long ago, and you're like, oh, we should make this one next now that
This has been developed for 20 years.
Nice. What's the age range between the youngest brother and the oldest brother?
Well, in this case, he's 40, and this guy is 20. How old are you? 23 or something? 22.
22 to 40. That's pretty nicely compact. No old men in the group. I have to say that because I'm older than 40. So.
You are. I can't tell.
Oh, hey. All right, the check is in the mail. Well, before we finish up here, are there any new games that you might want to tease us about down the road that might be coming out from Fryx Games?
The problem is that we are game makers, and we have developed game concepts for decades, which means that we have lots and more concepts and game ideas that then we have time to realize. These 3 games is almost too much. So you will see more from us.
Excellent. Well, if people want to find out more information about your games or want to check in to see what might be coming up from Fryx Games, where can they go online?
Check out the fryxgames.se for Sweden. fryxgames.se.
Well, Enoch, it's great catching up with you again this year. We look forward to this every year, and I can't wait to see what happens next time we're around this neck of the woods and find out what's new from you.
That's great.